A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Films I Should Have Talked About Years Ago. And so, let me just tell you, first off, that if you had not noticed recently, well, I got through quite a nice marathon session here, but today is Monday, September 20th. And now, we're going to go ahead and just get on with the final stretch right here, because I'm only a few episodes away from what I've talked about earlier in a vlog that I've uploaded about how this series is going to be cut down from 99 episodes to 81. Mostly due to extreme levels of business elsewhere. So of course, content production timing is going to be rather limited for a little while. But I will say though, that this has still been quite an amazing adventure here. With 81 episodes, that's still a lot of films I've been able to talk about after all this time. Yet, you know what? I'll probably plan on doing more of this kind of stuff in the future, when I have more time to do so. But until then, we got a few more episodes left to do so, and one of a few picks that I was able to get through recently was From Dusk Till Dawn. This is in fact an underrated Quentin Tarantino masterpiece from the mid-1990s and starred the likes of some notable actors out there like George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, Danny Trejo, and even Salma Hayek, pretty much. And who could ever forget that Quentin Tarantino not only was the person behind the production of this film, but Tarantino also managed to land a role in the main cast. That's right. This is one of several notable examples of a director or producer who not only was responsible for the production of the film entirely, but also managed to land a role either as a cameo or as a full-on character. In this case though, we do get to see Tarantino actually quite a bit throughout the length of the entire film. It's a lot like with my own productions, where I myself have not only been the main producer of some of my own films, but I've also starred in my own films. Mostly just to keep costs at bay when in terms of hiring other actors. Or people who do want to star in my own films. And I tell you, a lot of notable examples are just through the roof. From Blue Mare, to Triassica, to 3334, A Day in One's Life, and who could forget Nerve Secret Reveal Bolts of Intrigue, where I was basically the main star in the film. As I was already the main star of the original Nerve Secrets Revealed web series, but that's besides the point here. The point is, this is one of many examples out there. From Dusk Till Dawn basically uses Tarantino's talent as a director, but it also utilizes Tarantino's talent as an actor too. So, that's a pretty nifty way of getting extra mileage around here and there. To not only be the one to direct or produce or create a film, but to also land a starring role of any sorts. Well, anyways though, the film's premise is that you have a duo who are on the way to Mexico to find out about a certain case of vampires. Yeah, Mexican vampires. This was practically the reason why Mexican vampires are still a trendy subject to talk about in most Halloween specials or even beyond. This was primarily the reason for that. It had a pretty low budget too, of only $19 million, and managed to land a box office gross of $59 million. So this potentially puts it at nearly 3 times the budget that it managed to earn. And that right there is pretty much just what you need to know about it. But I not only would call this a masterpiece only because of the fact that it actually was successful somehow, but also, it's Quentin Tarantino. What'd you expect? And I'm an adult who's seen a lot of things that are not safe for work. Way too many things. Most of which I cannot even avoid. So of course it's pretty much expected that this particular Tarantino film is loaded with all sorts of things. Nudity, suggestive theming, alcoholism, violence, gunfights, bloodshed. I tell ya, who doesn't love any of that stuff? I myself, though, have seen a lot of Tarantino's more recent work, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's a film, though, I have talked a bit about, so we'll just leave that whole thing out of it. Well, anyways, the likes of Harvey Keitel and George Clooney, as the duo who are on the way down to Mexico while taking a family with them, is certainly quite a nice stage. I will say though that a few notable parts of the film that I probably would like the best would be the first sequence, actually, where Keitel and Clooney enter a store and hold up the owner. A sheriff ends up walking into the place as well, wanting to use the restroom, and unfortunately the sheriff gets killed right away. So it's almost like that part where you pretty much, well, expect the hero to come in and save the day, but instead the bad guys win. And there are a lot of cases where the bad guys win, even though there will always be the time where the hero wins at some point. Well, anyways, it's just incredible when you really look at it. The first 10 minutes of the film alone is more than enough to really be of entertainment for you. You could probably just take the rest of the film as pretty much being another long stretch of what this entertainment could pretty much bring you. The way Tarantino was able to exercise such incredible pyrotechnics and other such stunts that had been perfected a long time ago, this was also a time where so many things could be taking place. Accidents on the stage could happen or on the set, and you could even have deaths taking place. Such as in the case where Brandon Lee accidentally got shot with a bullet. A defective blank, pretty much. Rest in peace, buddy. But when discussing the rest of the entire film itself, I really have to mention the kind of Oscar-winning makeup effects that pretty much come into play here, especially on the vampires themselves. They certainly are not at all like the typical Bela Lugosi style vampires that wear a cape or a lapel or a bow or slicked hair or something like that. There's nothing like those kind of vampires. These are the kind of vampires that probably aren't all about the sort of bloodshed and blood-sucking nature that we tend to get from any kind of vampire species of animals. No, these kind of vampires are more about the havoc. They're more about the sort of supernatural entities that are just incredibly familial with many other franchises like the Ghostbusters or like tons of other things out there related to horror. So I will say for sure that this not only is quite a film out there, I really feel like it should win an Oscar by this point. Only because you got incredible acting talent, insane effects that are done so well, amazing makeup and all that are put all over the vampires and all that, and not to mention the ending of this film, which pretty much results in the vampires being defeated. And most people end up surviving the whole entire attack that takes place in Mexico. But above all that, this is just one of those mere examples of films that go way out of the ordinary. Way out of the ordinary. Just to give us some kind of message. A message that creative inputs are in fact quite huge and they can go among many outside boundaries. Which only leads us to the question, how are we ever going to get things like this ever again? Well, considering how it's been about 25 long years now, and a lot of evolution has happened, not just in makeup and effects, but also within most other filming techniques themselves. Lots of pioneering techniques have also been showing up lately. A lot of newer ones have been taking place. So I guess I'm just happy to say that this film is indeed going to earn itself a good scoring, an 8.4 out of 10. So in a way, I will not necessarily call it the best Tarantino film in the world, but it could just be one of which. And above all that, I will say that there are still a few more left to talk about, but yet we're getting pretty close. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you'll like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.